What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 129 of the Always Race Day podcast. I'm Connor Ferguson here with Damon Helgevald. But first, before we get started, I want to tell you guys about the great partners we have at the Karl Auto Group. Damon, just a month ago, was planning on coming up here to Knoxville, coming up cover a race. He came up, got it done last weekend. He needed a new car, though. Karl Auto Group did not take care of him. I think Damon got his car before the podcast even started.
Yeah, I've had this for a while.
I did want to bring up how's the we're turning this into a podcast topic while we thank our partners at the Karl Auto Group. How's your search going for what are you looking to get out of a recreational vehicle?
I'm just looking that I can get some sort of a camper that I can pull with my Canyon. So mainly a pop-up single axle camper, but we're in the process of getting rid of the bus and getting a camper.
I love it. That's gonna be awesome.
I hope so.
You want to wrap it with Always Race Day logos?
It's a possibility we might have to look into.
I would pay to get it done.
All right. It's a possibility we can do that.
Oh yeah. You guys look for that on the interstate soon, and thank our partners at the Karl Auto Group. Get on Twitter, thank them, give them a shout out on there, or also on Facebook at Karl Chevrolet. So appreciate them. Good show here, late show for the week as far as what we normally do. I've been at Iowa State prospect camps the last few nights, so we haven't been able to sit down and formally do something. So we did interview Cap Henry. I was off the interstate in a quick trip on the way to one of those camps. Is just the time that worked best for Cap to come on. I haven't cut the audio yet, and it's not like do not go into it expecting great audio. His internet was really sputtering. We're gonna get him on again after speed weekends for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Kind of wanted to talk to him about what happened on Monday at Wayne County, and we'll dive into that in a sec. But we kind of, as that's happening, I'm telling Damon, like, just keep it and we'll salvage what we can salvage. I don't know how much of it will be, but just don't expect it to be a very high quality interview. He had to jump on and jump off like 8 or 9 times trying to get his internet to work. So it's not on him. Just don't expect anything mind-boggling out of it. He gives us some good stuff and some good perspective on some things through Speed Week. So good luck to him the rest of the week too. As you guys know, I'm a huge Cap Henry guy, especially when the All-Stars are in Ohio. So beyond that, we got some news bits from the week that we'll dive into. And I guess the NHRA is pissing a ton of people off. But we're going to figure out what all of it means in a bit here. But Monday, Ohio Speed Week went to Wayne County Speedway. Drew just some social media dramatics throughout the day from more parties than one. So Brian Walker from Wikipedia, and I'm not dogging on anyone involved here. And same with our interview with Cap. We're not dogging on any of these people. We're just talking through it. But yeah, unlike the people that are just talking about him without mentioning his name and stuff, which I'm not a big fan of doing that. Saying things about, here's this situation, stuff like that. So obviously Brian works for the High Limit Sprint Car Tour, but he also runs Wikipedia. He was at the track doing his thing, giving coverage of what was going on. And, the track looked very muddy. It wasn't looking great. Mid-afternoon, I want to say. I don't know the exact time when all this started. We're recording Thursday morning, so Thursday afternoon, rather. But so he's talking about that. They end up having a meeting between all the drivers in the series. And they kind of say, like, hey, we're going to do this. He kind of tweets out a few guys' quotes, tweets out Danny Dietrich saying, you know what, we're going to junk up stuff. Why would we race on this? stuff along those lines. And they kind of reconvened, not one time, but two more times through the night. And as the night went on, they changed the event to show up points only. So everyone that didn't run well in their qualifying session, they dropped out. Everyone that ran bad in their heats, they dropped out and just loaded it up. So, I wanted to ask you, Damon, like, did you think anything differently of Walker's coverage of what happened? Because from my angle, like, the next day, everyone was making it this like smear campaign to make the All-Star series look bad. And I didn't think the All-Star series looked bad in it. I thought, if anything, the guy that runs Wayne County looked ultra determined to get a race in. He told everyone that was his goal and he achieved it. And the All-Stars got their race in. You know, it stinks that it was show up points. I also think that might have been the only answer to, you know, having at least 50% of the drivers leave the track feeling fine instead of angry. But
I
I didn't
mean,
think Walker like angled that in a way to make it look bad towards the All-Stars. I really didn't.
no, I didn't think he did. I think it was more just explaining both sides one way or another. And obviously, being on the side that we do, we're going to hear more from the drivers than we are from the track prep crew or the track officials or series officials. So you're going to get a little bit more information out of the drivers than you are anybody else. And so I'm guessing that's what people would be saying with it. But um, in my opinion, I think that was all was all in good, and I didn't see anything different from it.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of just like questioning from people talking about it. I really think this like high limit versus the world thing is a little overblown. Yeah, they're competitors. Yeah, they want high limit to succeed. Yeah, they are using some things that have worked for other tours in the past or haven't worked, and they're trying to make them better. I don't think it's like this. I think it's way different than like the USFL thing. I think it's way more comparable to when the XFL started in 2000. They kind of revolutionized how they film the product, and I think that's good. And I don't high limit's not necessarily doing all that, and they're certainly been a monumental amount of moves made over the offseason and schedule changes and stuff to not really accommodate high limit, but because of high limit's existence, you know, rules have changed um, with different things like that. And we've talked about all that, but I really don't think that just because Walker works for high limit, he's going to go cover 8 all-star shows in a row to bash them every chance he gets. I don't think that's his motivation there.
Well, I think it's been well documented as to why there's not even a high limit race going on in the next couple of weeks. Like it's well documented as to the high limit. You know, Brad and Kyle both have come out and said that they don't want to compete with the Outlaws or the All Stars.
Yeah.
Instead, they want to run midweek stuff to help it. That's why they schedule the races where they schedule them. It's somewhere
And that's
in
why
the
you get this
middle.
long summer break. I know it's not a late model tour, but like the Flow Series takes off that long summer because of the Hell Tour. And these guys are taking off because there's a lot more midweek racing nationally for sprint cars than there is any other time of the year in June and July, right?
Yeah, I mean it's there's a lot more going on, and you have multiple weeks. You know, with the sprint week here, you just had you have the midget weeks and stuff coming up, so that takes away some other drivers on top of it. So they're trying to make it work with everybody involved. I don't foresee it, and just knowing. Knowing the coverage that Brian provides on a regular basis, I don't think he's going to go anywhere to bash one way or another. I think the series kind of hurt themselves in their own image, in my personal opinion, on Monday.
How so?
Well, you take away points on a race when nobody left. I mean, I think Cap said what, two or three
Mhm.
guys left at the beginning, and you're taking away series points for that just to run show up points. I think that kind of hurts a series image in its own right. So we're gonna let two or three or four or five different people dictate what we do as drivers. Now you just open yourself up for a whole new can when something else happens. You get somebody that'll step in. Well, you did it this time, so we need to do it this time. You just hurt yourself moving forward, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I don't want to spend a ton of time on this either because I thought it was a little overblown. The sprint car world in general, I feel like was due for a lot of drama. I said that to Ross Weiss on Saturday at Knoxville, and certainly cleaned up for that through the last 6 days. Right? Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
My bad. My
yeah,
bad for opening my mouth again. Uh,
yeah. You kind of jinxed that one into
yeah,
existence.
at least it's not me causing the shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Ashley Hess, she's the wife of World of Outlaws series director Mike Hess. I'm not sure what her official title is. Bad journalism on my part. I just hadn't looked it up. But anyway, she tweeted in a reply to Nick Hoffman on Tuesday uh, that Sheldon could have used one of his World of Outlaws freebies since he loves the shithole so much, referring to Wayne County Speedway. Noted big name crew member, I should say, formerly crew member for Sheldon. Drew Brenner replied and said, "Shithole, the track just has character. Goat track." She replied to him and said, "100% on the list of never to return to tracks if I have to work. That list is very short." And Wayne County replied to her from their account with 3 laughing face emojis. Um, yeah, I don't have a problem with Wayne County with that reply. I really don't.
Oh,
Someone said that.
I'll
I think their tweet is more defendable, and I still don't have that big of a problem with any of the other ones too.
I'll be honest with you. I think just as a fan watching from the outside, that track puts on a lot of great shows. Like, yeah, they can't control what happened with Mother Nature come
Dude, I
Monday.
really thought they came out looking better from Monday.
Yeah, I mean, you are commendable for a track prep standpoint because you got a track ready to race. And oh, by the way, only what, an hour later than what you anticipated to start moving cars around. So
Maybe two.
yeah, I don't remember
Ohio,
what it
dude,
was
Ohio feels like a different time zone to me when I'm setting up the schedule, and I
because it
have to,
is.
because I have to like no, it like I have to like approximately kind of figure out when I think hot laps usually start at a racetrack, and every year I kind of memorize more. But like Ohio will start at like 5:30 Central, and anytime you go to Volusia, it's like 6:15, and I'm like, what are we?
Yeah,
I don't understand what's going on here. And then
yeah. So
Knoxville 6:45. That's all
right.
Central Time Zone times, by the way.
Right. So, you have a great racetrack. I don't know why people would go out and bash it. I've seen, we saw how many great races get put on there in the last couple of years, and generally builds up a really good cushion around the top, which is fun to watch them bounce off of a couple of different times. But that's just somebody that has had one bad experience, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's what I've had. I was talking with one of my buddies at the track on Rod Pruitt on Saturday. He's out from California, and he was asking me like, "Where's your?" This just this came up randomly. I think I might have jinxed everything that happened in sprint cars this week. But he was asking me like, "Where's like the worst track I've been to?" And I'm like going through my list, and the only thing that really hurts a track's experience to me is if it's like insanely difficult getting credentials. And obviously that sounds like a totally selfish problem, and it definitely is. But there's some tracks that just don't understand, like, yeah, I'm not here to promote your event. You have a promoter. That's their job. But
Mhm.
I'm going to give it coverage, and I'm going to tell people what's happened, you know? And there's some people out there that think that it's on the journalist to provide promotion and positive coverage because they're getting in for free. And we are. And you're usually going to see a lot of that regardless. Not like I'm just throwing out hootie tooties. I'm on something different today, Damon, with the
I can tell.
coming to my mind.
Your wordplay is not very good.
It's not. It's not. But yeah, it's not the journalist's job to be the positive figure.
Right.
That's the track's job. That is the series job. They can come out and spend things in a positive way. That's what PR is. We're not PR people. We're telling the story. So I don't know. I think we covered that well. Yeah. The only other thing, like Ashley tweeting that in the position she's in, not a great look. But yeah, they're going to handle it internally. Yeah, if you're hanging that on the Outlaws' head as like a reason that people shouldn't watch them, I think you're far overstepping.
Yeah,
that's about.
Yeah, I mean that's somebody that doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of power to begin with, and so don't. I mean, you can't give her any more power than she already has. But it's just a weird deal because we had just talked. The high limits not trying to take over all these other series, but yet you have another person affiliated with another series going after a racetrack that your series runs at, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's a fair way of looking at it. But yeah, let's move along here down our list. But Chase Randall is headed to the TKS Motorsports car for the rest of the 410 season. I believe they're just going to run that car wherever they can. That complements or complimentary, I should say, to Chase's already scheduled races. Can tell you they weren't. There was never a question if they were going to run 410 points full time. They were going to run 360. That was the decision they made at the start of the year. And that's what Chase told me. Chase told me he's like, we didn't even get a call. So I don't know when you do that, but we weren't planning on it. So maybe that's why we didn't get a call, is what he said. Not that Knoxville missed a boat or something like that, but Chase was never going to run 410 points. But he will be in the 2KS Barnstormers car and Alba LLC car for the remainder of the season. So that's cool to see. Last time he was in it, he was a top 5 at Knoxville. So we'll see what he does over there on Saturday. As for the car, he was driving the Beaver 12X car. Blake Feast is back this week. So that's all well and good. And we'll see those moves at Knoxville. We'll talk to both those guys at some point during the night. USAC non-wing sprint cars are over at their Eastern Storm event. Second race of the week got rained out, but they raced tonight on Thursday. Obviously, we are still like hours away from when hot laps start. We won't have anything about that on here, but did want to give a shout out to Jake Swanson. They're on a tight schedule with that and the crew members they have for that car, but that team is freaking red hot right now to upset Brady Bacon at Knoxville, a track where, when they ran there the last time, there's 6 cars that could have won that race. This year, I think there might have been 12 or 13 if I was handicapping. Everyone else being an ultra major long shot. So they do that. Go over to Grandview this week. I believe they might have quick timed, but run like hell in the heat race and turn it into a first place starting spot in the A main. And Jake led all 40 laps at Grandview, a track where Brady is also really freaking good. 5 out of the last 6 Grandview races for USAC have gone to Brady Bacon that series. So he also had, he said he had his 3rd tire error. Brady did, Damon.
Yeah, I saw that.
So he's had 3 delaminations this year, and I can't recall seeing any other ones.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how many in the last few years in general. I mean, there's been just a lot. So
Yeah,
it's
and that's
obviously
specific to this season with
right.
new tires.
Well, I don't give a shit if it's a new tire or not. It's
No,
still on
I
the
know.
same
I'm
make.
just
So
clarifying that for people that think I was blind and didn't pay attention last season or something like that.
that yeah, it's weird that you would think that you put together something new, they'd try to fix it a little bit, but um, obviously that is not the case, and it is coming apart three times on Brady Bacon. I don't know. Obviously, a lot of these guys buy their tires, a couple of them in bulk,
Buy a
and
batch.
so that's what happens is you get them put together like that, and unfortunately, Brady got stuck with a bad set.
Hopefully, they come up with something to rectify that because it seems like a problem that transcends the type of tire it is, and it might be. I think that was connected to how long they have to cure. So I don't know. I feel like if you send someone tires from a bad batch, you got to replace them with tires
Yeah.
from a different one.
It
The amount they
you would
bought.
think you would think if that was the case that we'd see more from other people if it's based on curing.
Right. Unless Brady got the one bad batch they made out of 2 billion.
That's what I'm saying. That something doesn't add up. But then again, the bad, we saw how many did a couple of guys last year have, and
Right.
it's a similar thing.
Right. But yeah, big shout out to Jake Swanson and the Team AZ Racing guys. They are on a roll. Look for them Thursday. Look for them Friday. It should be a good weekend of racing with USAC as well. And then last night the Hell Tour started. That's what I wanted to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Shirley leads all 40 laps of that feature. He looked good. He looked solid. Ryan Unziger came from the back to, I think he got sixth, but he came from almost dead last and ran through that field. So that was cool to see out of him. He's a super nice guy. I thought the Hell Tour entry list this week got kind of handcuffed a little bit with two. You had the Dream Saturday, had 100,000 to win at Kokomo on Monday. I thought the Hell Tour I think Bobby Pierce is running there later this week in preparation for the Outlaws starting their schedule up again soon next weekend. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to
mean,
be interesting with the Hell Tour this year and who shows up when.
you got quite a few big names that are a part of the Outlaw Tour there. I mean, your defending Outlaw champion and Dennis Erb was in the show, and um, Shannon Babb, another guy in the show as well. So there's still I don't know if it's handcuffed per se because where'd that run? It ran like Illinois somewhere, didn't it? Peoria, right?
Yeah.
So if people wanted to make it work, they could have made it work. It's probably just a team decision based on where they're headed for their next event, or funding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that 100,000, the upgrade they called it for Race XR. Hudson O'Neill ended up taking the win in that. Brandon Shepard finished second. Bobby Pierce finished third. Shepard had a fun quote in Victory Lane. Said, or in post race interviews, I guess, technically standing next to Victory Lane, but he said he wishes that they would just take the World 100 and put it at that track at Kokomo.
I mean, we've talked about sprint cars going back to Kokomo for how long, right? So everybody loves that track. It's a fun track, and you want to put some big shows on. I get it. You want to move an event there, Brandon Shepard, but just tell them to start their own. You just need to start their own big one because that's a cool track. It's a lot of fun to watch them run on too.
They're gonna start their own, and it's gonna end up being Nationals weekend or something.
Right. I do want to say that Brian Shirley at the you talk about you know, Summer National Aces, that's a guy that is, I mean, he's dominant when it comes Summer Nationals time. Like
Yeah.
this is his time of year. They run, obviously being a Midwest guy, they run the majority Midwestern races, and he is. This is the time that Brian Shirley can get going, and look for him to put together some good races here.
Yeah. It's it's always interesting because it feels like he's been faster earlier in the season this year, and
Mm-hmm.
leading all 40 laps to start is certainly a good measuring stick there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you go to another Illinois track, another track that he kind of got his start on anyway, going there today, and really this week really plays out into his favor, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Last thing for me, and then we'll get to a little bit of drag racing talk. We'll talk about what's going on this weekend too. Connor Daly ended up losing his IndyCar ride. I believe we've already said that on here, but he's driving Rallycross this weekend.
Aren't you excited for that?
I'm amped, dude. Their minor league series even has Leah Block in it, and she just won a rally. She won one of the American Rally Association races.
There you go.
Those are tough as hell to follow because it's.
Oh,
I mean, ultimately, I think their times are like 8 minutes or something, but they're not going at the same time. They're not on TV.
no, no, it's all time based. How fast do you get around the course?
So the weird thing with the Rallycross thing is they changed their branding again. So it was Nitro Rallycross. Now it's just Nitro Cross. And instead of being on Peacock, it's now on Rumble. But that service is free. I haven't tried to set up my account yet. I was going to wait till Saturday to do that. My biggest tip to them is just having someone tweet about what's going on while the races are going on the entire day.
That'd be an ideal.
Yeah, there countless amount of times last season where I missed the A main because I either forgot it was going on or didn't see a tweet and was thinking I would. I hope they get it. I emailed their PR director asking if we could get Travis Pastrana or any driver.
Or any driver.
Well, Pastrana would have been a great freaking guest, right? Like, seriously, any driver. So maybe Connor will come on after this weekend. I'll reach out to him and see if we can get a firsthand
there you go.
look at that. So I know he doesn't want to say a ton. It was like depressing listening to his explanation about what happened with his team because he didn't want to say anything, and he's like trying to say a little bit but not anything at all.
Right.
Be really professional, and it just stinks because you're like, okay, well, I'm not getting any closer to this. I just feel bad for Connor Daly again.
Right. I haven't even heard his podcast this week yet to hear how all that went down.
I would have wrote a blog about it had it been anything with the story, but Bitnile is still partially on his car for the Rallycross weekend, so maybe they played a small part of having that together. Maybe that's a contract thing. I don't know.
Well, it's a Connor Daly sponsorship is what it is. They've been with him for a while because when he drove, well, that year that he was splitting between Carpenters and somebody else, I can't remember, he was driving the Bitnile car. So that's a Connor Daly sponsorship more than it is a Carpenter sponsorship.
Right. All right. So the NHRA is pissing people off.
I wouldn't say people, just more along the lines of the pro stock motorcycle world.
Are you saying that class is full of not real drivers?
No,
what are you trying to say, Damon?
I know one personally that runs in that series. He and I grew up together, and this actually affects him as well. So yesterday, it was announced that the tech department is making a parity adjustment to all Vance and Hine 4-valve cylinder heads and adding 5 pounds to them. And basically, in an effort to slow down and make the field closer. So they're slowing the field down that runs the Vance and Hines heads. Well, unfortunately, as Tim Kalungian, who is the crew chief for White Alligator Racing, and the team that Chase Van Zant, who's from Pella, rides for. They run Vance and Hines 4-valve cylinders. And he said yesterday that only one bike with these heads is performing above the rest of the field, and it's doing it in the front half where the clutch, gear ratio, and chassis play a huge role. A bike with a monster 4-valve head won the Bristol race, and top mile an hour was ran by a V twin. He says, who at NHRA is making these decisions, and why are they ignoring the statistical facts of the pro stock motorcycle class when they do so? So, pretty strong quote from Kalungian that he put on Facebook yesterday as part of the team, and yeah, it's kind of wild.
So they have like one bike that just has a bigger cylinder block than the rest, and they change something else in an effort to slow that one bike down.
Well, so what's happening is, if you followed Pro Stock Motorcycle this year, up until Sunday, Gage Herrera had not lost a single round. He's a rookie in the class. He took over a Vance and Hines sponsored and team bike, and had literally won the first 3 races, had not lost a round, and in fact made it to the finals on Sunday. And the only reason he lost on Sunday was because he went 0-11 red. Otherwise, he's probably 4 races, 4 wins, undefeated in his pro stock motorcycle career. The difference is, for this, instead of putting some sort of weight restriction or looking at the clutch, the gear ratio on the Vance and Hines team bikes, anybody who runs Vance and Hines cylinder heads is getting a 5-pound addition to their cylinder heads, which is what's really upset Kalungian and the White Alligator guys, because that's where they run most of their stuff out of, is Vance and Hines. But they're a mid-pack team. Chase had a great first weekend. He made the semifinals in his first race out as a pro stock motorcycle racer. And he was in the second round this past week, but lost to that bike of Gage Herrera in the second round. So it's not affecting every team who runs Vance and Hine. It's just it's hurting every team, but it doesn't need to affect every team, is what really needs to happen. They need to look at Herrera's bike more than anything.
Gotcha. So we're busting this guy for cheating, essentially.
I mean, you could call it whatever you want.
I will call it cheating. I hate Gage Herrera. Our guy. What's our guy's name? What's our guy's name?
Chase Van Zant.
Yeah, Chase Van Zant. He was going to win that race all day long.
Yeah,
that big ass block showed up and got in the sunlight.
Unfortunately, they run a lot of the same stuff, and like Tim said, it's not within the cylinder heads. That's the difference.
So why don't all these other teams just go and find big blocks? I assume that's money, right? And that's
I mean, it's all based on like what bike you have, where you get your parts from, who your parts people are. It's not necessarily the size. It's just how much what the weight differential is in them, because you can take these cylinder heads and you can fluctuate the weight in them. But like Kalungian said in his quote, you have a V twin go set top mile per hour at the event, and you had a different 4-cylinder head go and win the race. So it's not like there needs to necessarily be parity amongst the cylinder heads. It's parity needs to be brought back from the Herrera bike more than anything. But he's not going to say that, because that's where his parts come from, is Vance and Hines. And if he wants good top of the line stuff, he's not going to go out and call out Vance and Hines.
Right. We're not doing that either. We're only calling out Gage Herrera.
Well, yeah, we can sit here. You're calling him out.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
You're calling him out.
I'm not calling him a cheater then, if we're doing that. You're actually trying to assume actual responsibility.
Somebody has to take it.
Yeah.
But then the NHRA went and did some stuff with Pro Mod today as well, and there's a lot of different things that it's trying to get the class closer together. I don't foresee it being as big of a change as some people are making it. There are a lot of differences. They're adding 20 pounds here or there to the different supercharged entries. They're running some different gear ratios for the supercharged entries as well, trying to get them closer to some of the nitrous running motors as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just points update for you guys, friends of the show. Ron Capps leads the funny car standings. I forgot how many points he actually. I just looked at it.
Yeah, he's.
I don't think how many points you matter really matters in drag racing. It's tough-ish to kind of calculate that.
Well,
it doesn't say anything more about his season than it does, but he's leading points, and my best bud Antron is 5th in the top fuel class. So good showing so far from our guys.
Antron's on a little bit of a heater right now. He's putting together some good races. Caps is up 32 in the funny car points right now, which is, that's about a round, I think, round or two
later in the week,
of
right?
Matt Hagan. What's that?
That's like later in the rounds, right?
Yeah. He's about 2 rounds ahead of Hagan. So, as long as he wins the round and Hagan loses, he'll continue to gain on that points lead. But it's like you were mentioning, it's hard because drag racing points all reset after Indianapolis. So
they don't do that on the video game.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I got a tough little reminder of that, but I turned my screen on. I won the funny car championship the other day.
See, you got it figured out.
What the big thing is, if your burnout on the video game goes awry in any,
you're in trouble.
Situation, you're screwed, and you have to you can't feather it down. You got to pedal it, but you basically know you have to pedal it, and then there's like 1 out of 10 where you're just on the gas, and that'll make me wreck 3 more times the weekend after.
It's crazy because I was playing that the other day, and I haven't been playing it as religiously.
So. I know. I woke up one day. I was like, I need to get some runs in on the drive.
I know. So I moved up to the Pro Mod, and like the first.
You're that far behind me.
Well, like I said, I haven't had a whole lot of time to do stuff. Been on the road
recruiting. Yeah.
But anyway, I've been go to run Pro Mod, and I move up. I qualify number 1 for the first 3 races and can't make it out of the first round.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been great.
The Pro Mod class being faster than Pro Stock was crazy to me too.
Oh no, it's you need to watch Pro Mod in person, man. It is a blast.
So why isn't that one the big one compared to Pro Stock?
Mainly because Pro Mod is it's still in its infancy stages. Like, it's pretty new class.
I like how cool the cars look.
They're so cool. The first, I guess it's the weekend before the 4th of July. There's a big Pro Mod event going on down in over in St. Louis.
I thought you were going to say Eddyville.
No, I thought there is supposed to be something in Eddyville soon, but I don't know when.
We'll have to get on that. We'll get on there at some point. Are we good for drag racing? You want to?
I'm good. I know. I wanted to mention too. We obviously, us being sponsored by Karl Auto Group. So is Robbie Massey. Robbie Massey runs the Top Alcohol Funny Car, and he's running in Cordova with Funny Car Chaos this weekend. So, shout out to him. Another guy I ran junior dragsters with when I was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And tons of good racing going on this weekend specifically that I'm excited for. It kind of sets up for a big week next week with Houston's High Bank Nationals. We'll be down there all 4 nights. But NARC races all weekend long. I know the Lucas Tour has their Mountain Moonshine Classic, I believe is what it's called this weekend for them. And of course, the Hell Tour is running, USAC's running, and IndyCar goes to Road America on Sunday, which I'm excited for. Defending winner, Joseph Newgarden. Do we think he gets back in the points this week? Do we think he gets back to victory lane, Damon?
Oh, I mean, you come off of winning the Indy 500. I think that puts you in a really good headspace. So, I mean, Newgarden is going to be tough to beat for the rest of this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The Karl Chevrolet dirt trucks also ran at Marshalltown on June 9th. Brandon Tofty ended up getting the win there. Our guy Mason Mitchell finished second, I believe.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so fun points race going on with them as well. Brandon Cox leads the points right now. Brandon Tofty is second. Jeff Johnson third. Those guys are separated by 2 points in total, each by one after the other. And then Mason Mitchell with 259 is the fourth guy that's right up there with them. So it's shaping up to be a very competitive series. I'm excited to see that. And they're coming to Knoxville soon.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be at Knoxville late in the year, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's the same night ARCA is at Iowa Speedway.
Okay, so
because if there wasn't slightly something else that was going,
right.
ARCA weekend always ends up being it's either World of Outlaws. They come. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. It just. I hate not. I hate like having double book nights, especially when they're both in the state. But I think our guys are going to be at the ARCA race at Iowa, and I'll go to Knoxville, and I think that's what we're doing that weekend. So should be fun to see. Hey, I accidentally updated my laptop this morning, by the way. Mm-hmm. It keeps showing Dow up 1 on the bottom left. So why did I download an Austin Dillon link, or what is?
No, that's the Dow Jones. That's the stock market that you're looking at.
Oh yeah, I don't need to look at that then. I was wondering if it was something I needed to pay attention to, whether my computer was heating up or if I ended up getting Austin Dillon updates sent to my navigation bar, which would be freaking entertaining as hell. Can you imagine just a race car coming across? It's like just qualified P3.
Yeah, it would happen. That would be pretty cool.
We should design something like that. That'd be a cool service.
That would be pretty cool.
Can I just have all my favorite drivers getting updated?
Yeah, no kidding.
Every lap on a Sunday.
Just get free updates the whole time. I like that. It's good.
Oh man, we'll leave it for smarter people to do before us, I'm sure.
Yes, that's a good idea.
All right, tons of stuff coming in the coming weeks, guys. I hope maybe that guy emails me and we'll get Travis Pastrana next week, but we'll work on guests and stuff like that. Hope you guys are excited for a big weekend of racing. This is the setup weekend. This is the appetizer, because after this, everything ramps up to 1,000. So thanks again for listening to us. Big shout out to the guys at the Karl Auto Group. Give them some support on Twitter. Get out to see the Karl Chevrolet dirt trucks when you can. And thanks again to all of you for listening. Hope you enjoy the race weekend. And please understand that the interview you're about to hear is very low in quality, and we apologize for it. But we wanted to give you what Cap could give us. We're going to get him back on in the coming weeks too. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate y'all.